So this is the problem statement. Seventh program is you need to develop an assembly language program to arrange series of 32-bit unsigned numbers in ascending order. We are going to make use of bubble sort technique to sort the elements in ascending order. In this program, what you will be seeing is in the data segment, we are going to perform the read operation as well as the write operation to the data segment. Okay, so far we have not done that. We have initialized the data in the code memory and we have tried to read the data from the code memory and we are performing the write operation to the data segment. But in this program, since it is bubble sort, we need to not only fetch the data from the memory, we have to write the data back to the memories to the same locations. We'll be seeing in this program how to edit data segments, okay, how to read as well as how to write to the data segment. So this can be the comment. Lab program 7, I have given it as assembly language program to arrange the series of 32-bit unsigned numbers in ascending order. We have given the area directive, area ex1, code read only. Then this is the entry point we have given. And now we shall see the instructions. We shall try to code it one by one. Okay. So first we shall fetch the size of the array in a variable, say R0, LTR R0, comma, I'll specify n. You can perform the read operation using the load instruction. So we have written the instruction LDR R0, comma n. What this instruction will do, it is to load, okay, load the value of n to R0 register. This is the operation performed. So the size of the array we are taking in R0 register. Here R0 will act as a that is counter, okay, outer loop counter. Since in bubble sort implementation we will be writing nested loop, okay. Outer loop is for keep tracking of the total number of passes and inner loop for the number of comparisons. You know how actually bubble sort works, right? So here R0 is the outer loop counter we are taking to keep track of the number of passes, and we'll use another register which acts as an inner loop counter to keep track of total number of comparisons. So first what we have done, we have taken the size of the array in R0 register. Now we shall decrement the content of R0 register by 1. Since there are n elements in the array, n minus 1 passes are sufficient. So what we'll do is we'll subtract sub R0, comma hash 1 will give. So here what we can give comment is R0 acts as counter. Okay, it is outer loop counter. So it acts as counter for number of number of passes. Right. So we are using R0 as a counter, outer loop counter you can say, for number of passes. If you want you can give outer loop counter. Okay. So this is the initialization we have done. Now we shall write the loop statements. We shall give the label as here outer loop. Give the label as for loop, say outer loop. This is the outer loop statement. Carefully. We need to, how actually bubble sort works. We need to start comparing two consecutive elements. Starting from the first element in the array, we'll be comparing two adjacent elements. So here what we'll do is, we'll fetch the two consecutive elements from the array and then we'll start comparing it. Before that, we require the address, base address of the array. So what we'll do is, we'll use LDR instruction, LDR R1, comma, equals array. So this is what the statement I'm going to write to make R1 hold the address of the array. Then we require the counter, another counter for the inner loop to keep track of total number of comparisons. So we shall copy this R1 value to another register, say R2, R2, comma R1. So here, that counter value which is held in R0. So that I am copying to R0 register. If there are 4 elements in the array, totally 3 passes are required. And in first pass, what happens is the number of comparisons that take place is just 3 comparisons. So whatever R0 value we are having, that will be copying to R2. So that R2 will be acting as an inner loop counter to keep track of total number of comparisons. So here R2, it acts as inner loop counter. So I am using R0 as outer loop counter. R2 as inner loop counter, okay, for number of comparisons. Okay, number of comparisons, right? See, this is what the initialization we have done before the outer loop starts. We have taken the size of the array in R0, then we have subtracted R0 content by 1. Since n minus 1 passes are sufficient, here R0 is acting as an outer loop counter. Then we have taken the base address of the array in R1. Here R1 is acting as a pointer to the location from where the data is to be fetched. And we have copied R0 register content to R2, where R2 is acting as an inner loop counter for keep tracking of number of comparisons. So now we shall write the inner loop statements. Okay, before writing the inner loop, this is what the initialization we have to make. So now we shall write inner loop. I loop I'll give. Okay, I loop. Where to specify the label, you'll understand once we write all the statements. Okay, we'll go for fetching the data into R3 and R4 registers. Two consecutive elements we shall fetch from the memory, that is from the array, and we'll transfer it into R3 and R4 registers. So LDR R3 comma content of R1, where R1 is a pointer to the array. Now the first element is fetched from the array. Now we need to fetch the next element from the array. I'll write LDR R4 comma content of R1 comma hash 4. So these are the two instructions we are going to write to fetch two consecutive elements from the array. You know, before this inner loop starts, we have taken the base address of the array in R1. Then we have taken R0 as a counter for inner loop, okay, to decide number of times the inner loop has to be repeated. R2 is acting as a counter here. And in the innermost loop, see, this is what the statements we are writing. First two statements are to fetch the first two elements from the array. So LDR R3 comma content of R1, then we have written LDR R4 comma content of R1 comma hash 4. We have used pre-index method. We have not used pre-index write back a post-index method for accessing the array elements. We have used pre-index method so that in the next iteration in the inner loop, we need to go for comparing second and third element. So next in the third iteration, we'll be going for comparing third and fourth element and so on. So two consecutive elements we are going to compare. So this is what the addressing mode we have used, and the indexing method, pre-index method we have used in this to fetch the data from the memory. Now we shall compare. Once the two values are available, the array elements are read, we shall compare these two. Compare R3 comma R4. Right? We are going to compare the first element with the next element in the array. Since it is unsigned numbers stored in the array, we need to interpret the data stored in the array as unsigned. So after comparison, we'll just make use of the branch instruction BLS. That means if the first number is less than or equal to the second number, we need not swap it. So here we are trying to sort the array elements in ascending order. So if you find that the first element is smaller than or equal to the second element, we need not do the swap operation. We need to simply go for taking the next two elements from the array, and we need to again perform the comparison operation. So that's why what we are doing here is, after comparison, compare R3, R4 instruction, we have written a branch instruction, conditional branch instruction, BLS next. That means if the first number is smaller than or equal to the second number, go for the next iteration. Okay. So in the next table, we'll handle that case. Now, otherwise, if we find that first number is greater than the second number, then what we have to do is we need to swap. So here I need not require that is, I won't require any additional variable to perform the swap operation. So since two registers are holding the data that is fetched from the memory, R3 is having the first data fetched from the memory and R4 is having the second data fetched from the memory. Now I need to write R3 content to this location R1 plus 4, and R4 content I have to write in the location pointed by R1. That's all. That will perform the swap operation, right? So write str instruction here. Str R4. Str R4 comma content of R1. See, in the first location we are writing the data which is present at the second location in the memory. Okay, that is the second word data. Then again we are writing str instruction, str R3 comma content of R1 comma hash 4. The pre-index method we have used. See, for load and store we have used pre-index method. So this is the addressing mode we have used. Okay, pre-index with immediate offset. So this is the addressing mode we are using for load and store instruction. See what we have done. So coming, if you just try to analyze this statement, what we have written in the inner loop, these are the statements we have written. We have fetched the data of the first element in the array to R3, second element in the array to R4. We have done the comparison of R3 and R4. If you find that R3 value is greater than R4, then this condition, branch instruction gets failed. Control will go to the immediate next statement where it just performs a swap operation. Well, whatever the data present at first location in the array will be overwritten with the data present in the second word location. Okay, so this is what the operation we have performed using two str instructions. Hope this is clear. But if you find that the first element in the array is smaller than or equal to the second element, no need of this str instruction. We need to go to the next label. So here we shall write the next label. Okay. What we are going to write in this next label? Can anyone tell what operation is to be performed in this next label? We have started with comparison of first and second element in the array. What is the next step?
Update the address.
Yes, very good. We need to update the address. Which is the pointer register we have taken? Which is a pointer to the array?
R1.
R1.
R1. Very good. So just write here add R1 comma hash 4. So whatever the data present at second word location, that has to be compared with third data. So this is what the updation we are doing. We are updating R1 pointer by 4. Add R1 comma hash 4. So this is how we are updating the pointer. If you want, you can take the command as update the pointer. So this is what you have to do. Now, after this, we need to, since one comparison has been completed, we need to decrement the inner loop counter. Which is the inner loop counter we have taken? Let's see. It is acting as an inner loop counter. One comparison has been completed.
R2.
Yeah, very good. R2 is acting as an inner loop counter. We'll subtract. SUBS, I'll just write SUBS instruction. SUBS R2 comma hash 1. The inner loop counter is decremented. Then we'll check. Same branch instruction, conditional branch instruction will use BNE I loop. Control has to be transferred to I loop. Where the I loop has to be defined? See, I've already defined. Actually, you are supposed to answer this, but while writing the loop instructions, I've already labeled it I loop and O loop. So this is the inner loop where we have to define. See, if the counter value is not 0, control will be transferred to I loop. This is where we are defining the I loop, where we'll go for fetching the next two consecutive elements. Since R1 pointer is updated by 4, now for the second iteration, R1 will be pointing to the second element in the array. So second element is fetched, that will be stored in R3 register, and third element from the array will be fetched and it will be stored in R4 register. Now we are trying to compare second and third element. So in the first iteration, we compared first and second element. We have updated the pointer so that it points to the second element in the array. And now in the second iteration, we are trying to compare second with third. So two consecutive elements we are going to compare. Again, the same process is repeated. So if you find that the second element is smaller than third, then we'll not do any swapping. Control will simply go to the next label where we'll update the pointer, we'll decrement the counter, and we'll go to the beginning of the inner loop. The process keeps on repeating until the inner loop counter becomes 0. So once the inner loop counter becomes 0, what you can infer is that all the comparisons in that particular pass has been completed. Now we need to go for the next pass. So how to proceed with the next pass? What is the updation I have to do to the pass counter? R0, you know, R0 is acting as an outer loop counter, which keeps track of the total number of passes, right? I need to decrement it, right? SUBS, I'll write R0 comma hash 1. So SUBS R0 comma hash 1 will decrement the outer loop counter. And again, BNE instruction will use BNE outer loop. O loop, I'll specify. So So if it is not equal, transfer the control to outer loop label, where the outer loop label is to be defined. See, after completion of each pass, when you go to the next pass, we'll again start comparing the consecutive elements starting from the first element in the array. After one pass, what you can infer is, or what you can observe is, the first largest element will be reaching its place. This is how bubble sort will work. So in each pass, we'll compare first two consecutive elements, then next two, and so on, right? So this is what the label, or this is where the label is to be defined, O loop, that is LDR R1 comma equals array. To this statement, we have to define the O loop label. So that for the next pass, it starts comparing the first element in the array. Okay, so this is what we are doing. And finally, we are going to give the infinite loop stop label. I'll give stop, then branch to stop. Okay, this is the inner loop label. Sorry, this is the infinite loop we are going to give. Now, if you want to give the size of the array in the data segment itself during execution time, you can give, or in the code segment, I can give the size of the array. NDCP4 I'll give. I'll be dealing with 4 elements in the array. So now we shall go for defining area directive. See, area ex2 comma data comma, we'll specify read write memory. Okay, now we shall give the variable array. This is the name of the array I have given, area tcd, and give 4 zeros to indicate 4 elements, totally 4 into 4. So that will be the amount of memory. That is the this is the totally 4 words of memory data which we can store in the array. Okay, so this is how we are going to implement the program. How it works, we'll see with tracing during execution time. So just analyze what is the order in which we have written the statements and how we have implemented nested loop in this bubble sort program. Okay. So before writing the outer loop, you see that the counter is initialized before the outer loop. R0 counter, you can observe, it is initialized before the outer loop, and R2 counter is initialized before the inner loop. Don't have this counter initialization within the loop. What happens if you give it within the loop? When the control comes to the beginning of the loop, the counter gets reinitialized with that value and the loop will never get terminated. So see that the counter is initialized before the loop begins. Okay. See what are the statements we have written. Quickly we shall glance at. R0 is having the size of the array, our LDR R0 comma n. Then we have decremented that R0 value by 1 since it is n minus 1 passes required. Then we have taken the base address of the array in R1. Here R1 is acting as a pointer to the array. Then we have taken R0 content. The total number of passes what we had in R0, that we are copying to R2. Since we require one more counter for the inner loop to keep track of total number of comparisons. Okay. So then what we have done, we have used two LDR instructions since two data we have to fetch from the array, two consecutive data. R3 and R4 are the registers which are holding that data, and we have used pre-index method to fetch the data in the first two consecutive locations in the array. Then we are comparing those two elements R3 comma R4. And if you find that R3 value is smaller than or equal to R4 value, we need not swap. We'll simply go to the next label where we'll increment or we'll update the pointer by 4. Then we'll decrement the inner loop counter and we'll transfer the control to the beginning of the inner loop if the Z flag is 0. Okay. If you find that the first element is greater than the second element, then control will go to the immediate next statement after BLS since the condition fails, where we are having two str instructions to write the data. This is to perform the swap operation. Whatever the data in R4, this is the second element in the array we are having in R4, that will write in the first element position, and R3 content will be written to the second element position. So this is how we are performing the swap operation. Okay, and the process is repeated. After swapping, you can see pointer is updated, counter is decremented, control will go to the inner loop. So this process keeps on repeating until all the comparisons for in the particular pass is completed. Then the control, once BNE I loop instruction is executed, if you find that R2 content is 0, that means Z flag is gets set to 1. The loop terminates, inner loop. control will go to the next statement outside the after the BNE instruction, where the outer loop counter is decremented and BNE instruction is executed, which brings the if Z flag is 0, control will go to the outer loop label wherever it is defined. So that means until all the passes are completed. So until R0 register content becomes 0, the process is repeated. So once R0 takes the value 0, Z flag gets set to 1, BNE instruction gets failed, control will come outside the outer loop also, where we are having an infinite loop. Okay, and after that we have given the size of the array, and since we need to perform the read as well as write operation to the array, don't take the array in the code segment, you have to take the array in the data segment. The code is read-only memory. During execution time, we cannot write to this memory. That's why we are taking array in the data segment. Okay, so this is one point you need to remember. And don't initialize the data segment here. That is the array with the elements in the code. Since once you go to the execution mode, the complete RAM memory will be cleared to 0. So that's why what we have to do is you need to go to the execution mode, and before accessing the array elements, once you get the base address in the R0 register, or before that also you can do, during execution time, go to that location where array is the array memory is there. You need to edit those locations. You need to open the memory window, you need to go to that specific address, and you need to edit the memory locations. This is what you have to do for giving the initial values for the array. Okay, so how to do it we'll see. I'll build target. Okay, in directory need to give a space. Let me start the execution. We are taking the size of the array in R not registered. So once I execute the first instruction, what happens? R not is having the value 4. 4 elements I have to initialize in the memory. Just observe how to initialize the array elements. Kindly observe here. This is the memory window 2 I have taken. The address. What address it is taking for the array? How to know? After execution of LDR R1 comma equals array, you can go to that address and you can edit the locations. Okay. So let me also execute second instruction, subs R0 comma hash 1. See what is there in R0 register now? 3. 4 elements I have taken. 3 passes are sufficient to just do the that is sorting, right? That's what the data held in R0. Once R0 becomes 0, that means we are done with all the 3 passes, right? Now we are executing the outer loop statement, LDR R1 comma equals array. What is the address it has taken to R1 register? It is 4 followed by 70. So we are going to that location. We can open a memory window and you can give that address. So during execution time, whatever the address it is going to take for the array variable, you go to that location and you perform the editing operation. Okay, see 0x 4 followed by 70 we have given. And now what we have to give is since we need to fetch the data from these locations, first for editing. Let me, if you double click on this memory location, you can go for editing the data. Let me give the data as 4321. 4 word data I want to initialize in the memory. It is unsigned number. What I'll do is I'll give 4, and after 4 you need to leave 3 byte locations. Since it is 00000004, it is a 4 byte data. Okay, 32-bit data. This is how you have to edit the locations. Are you getting? See this location I'll edit. I'll give 3, I'll leave 3, then I'll give 2, then after 3 I'll give 1. Are you getting how we have given the data? See, 4321 is the data I wanted to initialize to the array. See, 4, it is little in Indian format, the data is being stored in the array. 00000004. How we have edited? Only this location. So the data to be interpreted as 00000004. Least significant byte is 04 for that. So these are all zeros. Then 3. Leave 3 byte locations, then give 2. Leave 3 byte locations, then give 1. So what is this data we have initialized in the array? It is 4321. Hope you have understood how to give the data in the data segment during execution time. Okay, this is how you have to edit. Now we shall proceed with the next step. See, R2 is the counter for number of comparisons. Totally 3 passes are required to sort 4 elements and 3 comparisons in the first pass, 2 comparisons in the second pass, and 1 comparison in the last pass. Right? So we are in the first pass now. So totally 3 comparisons that is held in R0 register. Now we are fetching the first data from the array. Just see, once the data is accessed from the memory, you can see it is changed to red color, that particular memory locations. 4 is fetched. This is the first data in the array. It is stored in R3 register. Then second element in the array is fetched. It is 3. It is stored in R4 register. Now we are comparing these two. 4 is compared with 3. What you will find? 4 is greater than 3. So BLS instruction is failed. So since the value held in R3 is greater than R4, the branch instruction gets failed. Control will go to the immediate next statement where str instruction is executed. So what is there in R4? It is 3. 3 will be returned to the first location in the array. See, you can observe we have performed the right operation. You can see the changes in the memory window 2. Now it is changed to 3. And in the next array position, array element position, we are writing 4. Second str instruction is executed. After that, what you can see, 4 and 3 are swapped. So before execution of the two str instructions, what you had in the array, it is 4 and 3. After execution of these two str instructions, you are finding 3 and 4 in the array. Okay, this is how we have done the swap. So now what we need to do? We need to update the pointer, add R1 comma hash 4. R1 is updated. Subtract the counter. One comparison has been completed. R2 counter is decremented. Now it is 2. Branch if not equal. Yes, it is R2 value is not 0. Control will go to the beginning of the inner loop. Where second and third element we are fetching. 4 and 2 are to be fetched. Okay. So 4 and 2 are fetched. R3 contains 4. R4 contains 2. These two are fetched. And we are comparing 4 and 2. So since 4 is greater than 2, we need to swap. See, BLS instruction is failed. Just observe str instructions are executed where 4 and 2 are swapped. See, 4 2 are swapped. Second and third elements are swapped. So now pointer is updated, counter is decremented, second comparison is completed. We are left with one more comparison. So branch not equal. Yes, R2 content is non-zero. Control will go to the beginning of the loop where we need to fetch the third and fourth data. See, 4 is fetched and then 1 is fetched from the array. We'll compare. 4 is greater than 1. We'll swap. See, 4 and 1 are swapped. Now we'll decrement the counter. We'll update the R1 pointer. We decrement R2 counter. Once R2 counter is decremented, we are done with all the 3 comparisons. You can see R2 counter, inner loop counter is 0 now. Once BNE instruction is executed, it just comes outside the inner loop. And you can observe after one pass. This completes one pass with 3 comparisons. And you can observe largest element is reaching its place. 4, 3, 2, 1 were the elements I had taken in the array. You can observe here 4 is in the last position in the array. Okay. So after each pass, you can find the first largest, then second largest, and so on. Each of the largest element will be reaching its place. So now only 2 comparisons are required in the next pass. And you can see how we'll do it. We'll decrement the outer loop counter. Now outer loop counter will be 2. R0 register content you can check here in the register window. Branch not equal outer loop. Control will go to the beginning of the outer loop. Again, I have to start comparison with the first and second element in the array. So R1 pointer is reinitialized to the base address of the array. Then R2 is having the number of comparisons. It is 2. Only 2 comparisons in the second pass. Fetch the data. The process is repeated. 3 and 2 are fetched. And you can see that 3 is greater than 2. Swapping takes place. 3 and 2 will be swapped. Right? After 2 str instructions are executed, you can see the memory window 3 and 2 are swapped. Now we need to update the pointer. R1 is updated. We'll decrement R2 counter since one comparison has been completed. Since the R2 value is non-zero, and we'll go to the beginning of the. Now we'll fetch the second and third element in the array. Second element is 3, third element is 1. these two are retrieved and it is stored in R3 and R4 register. We'll compare 3 with 1. Since you find that 3 is greater than 1, we swap. Two comparisons have been completed and you can see 1 and 3 are swapped and second largest element is reaching its place. The R2 counter, once you decrement, it becomes 0. Two comparisons are done and the inner loop counter, since it is 0, inner loop gets terminated. We'll go to the outer loop where we'll subtract outer loop counter by 1. One more so that is so pass is left out. Branch not equal outer loop. Control will go to the beginning of the outer loop. So just observe, two passes are completed and 4 has reached its place and 3 has reached its place. And we are left with only one pass and only one comparison will take place in the last pass. So how we'll do? Again, base address is initialized to R1 register. R2 will be having value 1 since only one comparison in the last pass. And R3 and R4 are the registers which will hold the first two elements of the array. 2 and 1 are retrieved. See, R3 is having 2 and R4 is having value 1. Once you compare 2 with 1, you find that 2 is greater than 1. Swapping takes place. Okay? 1 and 2 are swapped. So now we'll update the pointer. Then we'll decrement the R2 counter, which keeps track of total number of comparisons. So one comparison was there for the last pass. It is done. And you can observe Z flag set to 1. And now inner loop is terminated. And you can see R0 counter. We are done with all the three passes. Once at this point, if you decrement R0, R0 value will also become 0. So we are done with all the passes. Outer loop will also get terminated once you execute DNE instruction and control will go to this infinite loop. So just see, after execution of all the statements and after completion of all the passes, what you can observe, the elements are arranged in ascending order. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can earlier what was the date before sorting, what the elements I had taken, 4, 3, 2, 1. After swapping, what you are seeing is that is 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is how we can do the swapping. Okay, you can take any value of yours, but you are interpreting the numbers as unsigned numbers. Any 32-bit data you can initialize in the memory and check whether your code work or not. Have you all followed how bubble sort is working? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'll share this code. You can go through it and hope you have understood how to edit the data segment. Don't give the data in the code. You need to go to the execution mode. You find out the address, the base address of the array. That is the statement LDR R1 comma equals array. After execution of this statement, you go for editing that memory location 4 followed by 70H. You edit, give the input array elements, and then apply the bubble sort logic. Okay, this is what you have to do. Just complete
Ma'am,
7th program of your lab syllabus. Coming to the last program in part A.
excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah,
Ma'am, what will happen if you give input array values in the data section itself?
I told no, it will be clear to 0. No problem. You give it. You give it as 4321. Let me just execute and show. So you want to give here only. That's what I stressed, Chaitanya. See, 4321. Even though if you give the array elements like this, once you assemble your program and go to the execution mode, it will, all the locations in the data segment will be clear to 0. Just see, I had given 4321. When you go to the location 4 followed by 70, are you seeing the data? Complete data segment will be clear to 0. This is what happens. All RAM locations will be clear to 0 when you go to the execution mode. So what you have to do is, you should not give in the, even though if you give, no problem, it will be clear to 0. Again, you have to give, you have to edit these locations. Getting? No problem if you give in the code, but data segment will be clear to 0. You have to edit during execution time. Am I clear?
Ma'am, so
Ma'am,
if we have to edit in the same array itself, then we have to give it in data section and change the values in the memory.
come again.
Ma'am, if for any other question, if we
Okay.
want to change the value in the same array itself,
Yeah.
Then we should take this in data section and give
Yeah,
the
if you
input in
want to
memory.
write, remember one thing in common, whenever you want to write to the memory location, not just read, you should also perform write operation, means you have to take the variable in the data segment. Code is read only memory, we cannot write during execution time. Remember this, that is sufficient. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So here n, I don't want to edit n, no. If you want to take n also in the data segment, you can take, but during execution time, you have to give the n value. Are you getting? I need not give this here. I can just cut it. I can give it here also in the data segment. All the variables you can take in data segment only. What is the problem with this? You need to edit during execution time. Okay. You just remove it. See, you need to give it here. So even though if you give here, it will not be stored. What you have to do is you have to go to the execution mode and you have to give the n value. So start stop debug session, and here what you have to give it. And one more thing, here I cannot use, if you are going for uh, the n variable in the data segment, I cannot use this direct addressing mode here. I have to give equals n, then I have to fetch the data. That is one more point you have to remember. Okay, n value also, if you want to take in the data segment, then what you have to do is you have to use you have to get the address in a variable pointer register, and then you have to access using indirect register indirect addressing mode. This is the point which I told earlier, right? So when direct addressing mode, as you are seeing in the first statement in your program, LDR R0, n can be used only if the variable is in the code segment. If you are taking the variable in the data segment, you have to go for register indirect addressing mode. As you are seeing in this program, how we have accessed the array elements. We have used indirect addressing mode, right? R1 is acting as a pointer. We have used square braces around the register. This is the indirect addressing mode we have used. Are you getting? I need to modify the code here. I need to write LDR R0, comma. I need to specify, say some other register. Let me take LDR R4, comma equals n. I have to take, and then I have to specify that is LDR R0, comma content of R4. This statement I have to write to fetch the n value from the data segment. Are you getting?
Yes, ma'am. Understood, ma'am.
Okay. So remember these 2 points. If you want to read as well as write, simply read operation if you want to perform from the variable means you can initialize the variables in the code segment. If you want to perform read as well as write, you have to go for the data segment. And one more important point is direct addressing mode can be used for the variables. If the variable is in the code segment, you have to go for indirect, register indirect addressing mode if the variable is in the data segment. Remember these 2 points. That is sufficient. Okay. So this completes 7th program of your lab syllabus. We are left with one last program, that is to count the number of zeros and ones. This is the 8th program and as well as the last program in part 8. Let us just quickly go through it. Okay, let me try to complete this. And it is easy, it is not so difficult. So ALP, let me write the command as ALP to count the number of zeros, ones and zeros in 2 consecutive memory locations. So one memory location is just 1 byte. So we need to fetch byte by byte the data, and we have to count the number of ones. So 2 consecutive memory locations. So this is the code. So this is the comment I have given, and again the same area directive will be using empty directive. Let me delete all these statements. Okay, now we should see. Let me remove this. Okay. I'm having the template. Now for this program we require 2 counters, right? One counter to keep track of total number of ones, another counter to keep track of total number of zeros. So what we'll do is we'll take 2 registers and we'll initialize their values to 0. Say move R0, comma hash 0. So this as counter for that is 1 second take. counter for ones. And again, I'll take one more register, say R1, and I'll initialize it to 0, hash 0. So this to act as counter for zeros. Okay, that's clear. Two counters we have taken, one counter to keep track of total number of ones, another counter to keep track of total number of zeros. So now what we'll do is, how many bytes or how many consecutive locations I need to process. It is 2 consecutive locations, that is 2 byte data I need to process. So let me take one more counter, and I'll be using nested loop for this program implementation. So if it is asked to find out 10 consecutive locations, number of ones and zeros in 10 consecutive memory locations, or it may be any value, you can just modify that counter value. So that's why for that generalization, I've used this nested loop concept. Okay. So move R2 comma hash 2. So where 2 indicates the number of bytes to be tested. There are 2 bytes. As per the question, it is just 2 bytes to be tested. So here again R2 is acting as a counter. So R2 acts as counter for what? Number of bytes to be tested. So counter for number of bytes to be tested. Okay. This is what the counter I have taken. R2 as counter for outer loop. Okay. Now I'll take the base address of the that location from where the bytes are initialized. I can give it as LDR. Say I'll use R4 comma equals 1. Value, or you can take it as array, any name you want to give. So the base address of the variable, I've taken it in R4 register. Now I'll write the statement LDRB R5 comma, since byte 1 byte data I need to fetch from the memory, R5 comma content of R4. R4 is a pointer to that location, comma hash 1. So what is the indexing method I've used here? Can identify the indexing method used. What is the indexing method used here? LDRB R5 comma content of R4 comma hash 1. Is it pre-index or post-index?
Post-index.
Post-index method. First byte location, the data from the first byte location is fetched, then the pointer R4 is updated by just 1. Since it is byte data we are interpreting, the next byte data I need to fetch from the memory. That's why we are updating the pointer by 1 after 1 iteration. Okay. So now we'll just take, and how many bits I have to test in that byte data? How many bits are to be tested? In a byte data, how many bits will be there?
8.
8, right?
8.
So for the inner loop, the counter I have taken as R3. So this is acting as a counter for number of bits to be tested. Okay, here R3 acts as counter. Okay, for what? Number of bits to be tested. Only 8 bits in that register. Whatever the data I fetch, only least significant 8 bits I have to test to be tested. This can be the command. Just observe how many counters I have taken for this program implementation. R0 and R1 are the increment counters to keep track of total number of ones and zeros respectively. R2 is a decrement counter for keep tracking of total number of bytes to be tested, and R3 for keep tracking of, again it's a decrement counter we'll be using for keep tracking of total number of bits to be tested. This is done. Now we shall write the statements. You can apply any logic. If you want to use test instruction, you can use logical shift right instruction. If you want to use, you can use an RRX instruction. It is left to your implementation. I am using LSR instruction. Move R5, that is move S I need to use. Move S R5 comma R5 comma LSR hash 1 I'll use. Okay, R5 comma R5 comma LSR hash 1. And once you perform right shift, if you find that least significant 8 bits are to be tested, the LSB bit will be appearing in the carry flag. Now I'll use add CS. For the add instruction, I'll use the condition attribute CS. If you find that carry flag is set, is it 1 we have encountered or 0? Yes?
1.
1, right? So I need to seek and observe R0. I have taken it as 1 counter. I'll add 1 to that counter. add CS. If carry flag is set, add 1 to the R0 counter. Otherwise, add CC. If carry flag is clear, that means we have encountered a 0. So R1 register I am updating by 1, comma hash 1. See, add CS, R0, comma hash 1, add CC, R1, comma hash 1 we have done. Then decrement the inner loop counter. Here R3 is acting as an inner loop counter. 1 bit we have tested. We need to still test rest 7 bits. SUBS instruction will use SUBS R3, comma hash 1, then branch not equal. BNE instruction. BNE I loop I have to give. Now can you tell where to initialize this I loop? Where to label this I loop? To which instruction I have to give I loop? I need to repeat this testing operation. Where I loop should be given?
Move, yes.
Yes, very good. I need to give it here. I loop. Okay. So this instruction has to be repeated. 8 times this code will be repeated since 8 bits are to be tested. After 8 iterations, you can see R3 content will become 0 and the inner loop gets terminated and 1 byte has been processed. So how to indicate 1 byte has been processed? How to go update the outer loop counter? Once the inner loop terminates, what are the statements I have to write? Which is the outer loop counter. How many bytes are to be tested? It is 2 bytes, which is in which register?
R2.
R2, right? So just write SUBS R2, comma hash 1. Decrement that outer loop counter. Again use BNE instruction, BNE O loop. Can you tell where this has to be? Again for the second byte, how many bits are to be tested? It is 8 bits. So where to initialize this?
LDR R4 comma equal to
Equals value will give or
LDR B, ma'am. Next.
RB, okay. You have to give for LDRB. Okay. Since the pointer is updated for the next byte location, post index method we have used, O loop has to be initialized or it has to be labeled here. Okay, this is done. See? If this code, this generalized code, if you want to test for 3 consecutive byte data or 4 consecutive byte data at any value, you can just change only this value. So it can be replaced with how many bytes you want to test. This is simple. Okay. So once the loop terminates, in which variables you will be having the count values R0 and R1, just write it to the result location. Okay. So how to write it into 2 consecutive locations, word locations if you want to write. Once the outer loop also terminates, I'll write LDR. Okay, R4. The R4 is acting as a pointer to the result location. R4 comma equals result, and I can use str instruction. Str R0 once counter R0 comma content of R4. Okay, and in the next consecutive word location, I'm using word location to write the result. R0 and R1 comma content of R4 comma hash 4. Okay. In the first word location, I'll write the ones count value, and in the next word location, I'll write that is zeros counter value, which is in R1 register. So once this write operation is completed, we'll write an infinite loop, and after this, we need to specify the values. Let me give the initial values in the code segment itself. Val, I'll give DCB. Since it is a byte data, DCB I'll use 0x12, comma 0x34. So how many ones and zeros are there in these two data in total? Try to find out. That's what the result we are expecting in the result location. Okay. Result TCD 0, 0 and give. Can you tell? 1, 2.
5 ones,
Totally?
11 zeros.
Yes, very
Yes, ma'am.
good. 5 ones and 11 zeros. This is what the result we are expecting. Hope you have understood this code, how we have written. Totally 4 counters we have taken, 2 up counters for the tracking of ones and zeros. And this is the outer loop counter R2, and R4 is the pointer to the location from where the byte data is to be fetched. LDRB instruction we have used to fetch the data. After that, we are incrementing the pointer by 1 since it is the next byte data we have to fetch. If it were to be word data you are fetching, you need to update the pointer by 4. But here it is byte data. Then R3 is a inner loop counter. Before the inner loop starts, this R3 has to be initialized with 8. Only least significant 8 bits in the R5 register we have to test. See, R5 is the register which is having the data that is fetched from the memory, byte data. And just observe LDRB instruction we have used. What LDRB will do is only the byte data it fetches from the memory, and that byte data will be stored in the least significant position in the R5 register. Higher order data, R5 is a 32-bit register. Higher order bit data in the R5 register will be zeros. It is treated as an unsigned number. You can observe, you can recall load store instruction. For LDR that is instruction, we are having signed, unsigned data types. But for STR, it is just unsigned or unsigned. Only the data stored in the register can be written to the byte or word location. Only STRB and STRH instructions are supported. But for LDR, it is LDRB, SB instruction, and LDRH, LDRSH instructions are there. Here we are treating it as unsigned, right? So the data is fetched and higher order will be all zeros. So now you can see 8 times the bits are tested using LSR instruction. Move yes instruction I have used. So it is going to affect the flag. Add CS and add CC. The addition operation we are performing based on whether carry flag is set or reset. We are adding the adding value 1 to the counters R0 or R1 depending on carry flag status. Decrement the inner loop counter, repeat the loop 8 times. Once inner loop counter becomes 0, inner loop will be terminated. Then we'll see outer loop counter is decremented, and we'll go for the next iteration where again we'll take the next byte from the memory. We'll test all the 8 bits in the next byte fetched from the memory. Finally, once the outer loop also terminates, in R0 and R1 you'll be having the ones and zeros count that we are writing to the result location. This is what we need to do. Okay, let us just compile and execute. Okay. See, R0 is counter, R0 and R are initialized to 0, R2 is having value 2, R4 is having the address of the location where the input is stored. Now we are fetching the data. See, R5 is having 12H. This is the first byte we had initialized in the memory. If you want, you can give that data. 44H is the address. 44, 0x44. 12 and 34. You can see each is a byte location. In the memory, I had initialized VAR, that is VAL, we have given DCB, that is the data directive I used, 12, 34H. This is what the data in the 2 consecutive locations I had given. This is how it is stored. 12 has been fetched from the memory. It is stored in R5 register. See, R3 is a counter which is initialized to 8. 8 times the inner loop is repeated. You can see until R3 becomes 0, inner loop will be repeated based on whether ones and zeros are encountered. It will be repeating. Once R3 takes the value 0, okay, you can see it will be terminating. So now R3 is 0, inner loop gets terminated. Now R2, outer loop counter will be decremented and control will go to the outer loop. It fetches the next data. 34H is the next data that is fetched from the next byte location. It is stored in R5 register. And again the counter is initialized to 8. 8 times the inner loop will be repeated. Until R3 becomes 0, it goes for testing whether carry flag is set or reset based on the right shift operation. Okay. So once R3 becomes 0, inner loop will also be terminated, and R2 counter is decremented. It is also 0. All the bytes are tested. Control comes outside the outer loop also, and you can see result location where we are writing R0 content. R0 content is 5, which is ones counter, and R1 content, which is 11. 11 in decimal, and 0B is in hexadecimal. You can see 0B written and stop. Okay, this is how we are writing. We are counting the ones and zeros in the 2 consecutive byte locations. We need to read byte by byte the data. In each byte, 8 bits are to be tested. So that's why we have taken nested loop. Outer loop for number of bytes to be tested, inner loop for number of bits in each byte to be tested. So this is how we have implemented. Have you all followed? Hope you are able to understand. Followed?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Ma'am,
Okay.
can you please share this recording in your YouTube channel?
Okay, I'll try to do it. Thank you, Anand. Faculty is waiting. We'll stop here.
Okay, ma'am.
We'll continue the next class. Thank you.
Ma'am, will you share the link of the YouTube channel after uploading, ma'am?